Okay, this is the last lecture. This actually will be in our Unit 5. The numbering 4-2 comes from the other course that it was in. Receivables, an explanation of what we're going to be looking at with receivables. We're going to focus on the customers who don't pay and what to do about accounts that become uncollectible. Lots of boring text. Then finally an example. And the journal entry that is accompanying here needs to be in a general journal format that we're developing. The explanation of how we get to $40,000 comes from the story from 2 million and 2%. Then, even though it hardly looks like it, this is percentage of sales. We're switching to percentage of receivables. So the same company, but pretending that they now do it a different way. They use this method where they do 6% of their receivables. So 500,000 times 6% is 30,000. The method's a little more complicated. The 30,000 just doesn't drop into the general journal entry. It goes through a process of looking at this account. 30,000 that we just computed becomes the balance we want to see in the account, and we have to back into, okay, we're going to need to increase this account by $18,000 to get to that number. And then we make a journal entry for $18,000. Explanation of an aging schedule, which again, handmade. List of all the customers, how much they owe the company, and then breaking them down by how overdue they are. Applying percentages to each of the columns to come up with the amount from each column that we think we won't collect to get a grand total. That grand total comes in here and becomes this 15,880, the balance we want, and we need to explain to the student how to go from a negative 200 to a positive 1580. It's going to take adding 1780 to this account, and we do that through this journal entry. That again should be in a general journal. Then talking about what do you do when you just give up on a customer and write them off. Give the story, we have a customer, we're going to write them off, the general journal entry to write them off, and then taking a little time to explain a concept to the student that before you write them off, the net amount of accounts receivable, and after you write them off, the net amount is still the same. So we really want to stress that before and after, the numbers are the same. What happens if that Mr. Rose that we talked about, after we write him off, shows up and pays? It takes 2 journal entries. Then we switch gears to a different type of receivable, a notes receivable. So we're contrasting the differences between accounts receivable and notes receivable, then getting into a story problem with a journal entry, explaining how to compute interest that is accrued to a certain point, and then recording the day that the customer pays us the entire balance, the note plus interest. And that's it. That's all the lectures that have scripts. I haven't done the ones for the early lectures, like Unit 1's early lectures, and there'll be a few lectures that we are going to write. But this should get us a good start.